Minnesota Pubcast. What's up?
That's just a long pause. I thought you were gonna do the thing where you point to me last minute again, and you're on. Oh, shit.
No, not today. Not today. I won't trick you with that one. Hi, welcome to the show. Molly Burke, Jason McGovern, the Minnesota Pubcast.
And Oliver Burke.
And Oliver Burke is in the house. Ollie's in the house. All right, we got to get to
Hashtag the ver. Sorry. He has his own hashtag on Facebook and Twitter.
I'm not surprised.
Or on
sure,
Instagram.
he's trending all over the place, right up there with Baltimore.
Yep, the ver.
Everybody, go check that out. Hashtag.
Yeah. He's
the
got
Ver.
some good photos, and like multiple people use his hashtag, so it's not just me taking photos.
You guys have issues.
He's cute. I don't know where he is right now. Where is he?
He's right over there. He's under
feel
the
like
table.
he's
He's
gonna
around.
take a
The
shit
door's
on this
closed, so
rug.
he can't go too far.
He's totally gonna take a shit on this rug. I just
Oh,
know
maybe
it.
he did. Jesus Christ. Hold on. That'd be a good way to start the show. That's
Well,
what you think of the show, huh?
We walked
anyway.
here and he got scared because of all these loud noises, and he was not concentrated enough to find a spot to go to the bathroom before we came in.
Because he was so scared for his life?
He was scared. There was a lot of loud noises, and he's a little dog, so and big dogs get scared of noises too. Dogs are just kind of pussies sometimes.
I really have been thinking about grabbing that "The More You Know" little jingle from Corolla, because it does apply to every single talk show ever made. You could always play that when you say something like that. But let's start about the big topic for everyone right now in the country. I think everyone's talking about Baltimore. You would think eventually this would almost get old, but it doesn't, and it is the top headlines of what's going on right now. What's your initial reaction to this, or is it just Ferguson point or 2.0, or what is your? I mean, this is a huge city, so it's much different than Ferguson in that way.
Right.
But-
I mean, you almost expect something like this to happen in Baltimore first. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when you think of Baltimore, this is kind of what you think of.
What do you?
That's some white person shit right there. What I just said, watching
did
like
sound a
what I
little
know
bit.
from The Wire. But you know what I mean? Like Baltimore is known for their crime, for their political divisiveness. Divisiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's like, oh, it's happening in Baltimore. Kind of makes sense.
You would think a city that big would still be able to be a little bit more progressive, though. I think you hear Ferguson, Missouri,
No,
and you go, "Oh yeah, no
Baltimore
problem."
is corrupt, just like Chicago.
No,
is.
sure.
It's. I mean, I don't know what you mean by progressive.
I mean, in just that it is a big. Well, I mean, this is happening in New York and Chicago and everywhere else too. So I guess being progressive isn't going to make any difference really, because when it comes to
it
inner
doesn't
city
matter.
crime, progressiveness doesn't matter.
No.
In fact, it can make it worse sometimes, because those policies aren't going to policies that, like, especially in you and I coming at this from such a far out perspective. We obviously have nothing that we can really relate to the nuts and bolts of what's going on here. I don't know. I think that we have it's tough to cover this, and especially I know this is where everyone is coming to the Minnesota Pubcast. Two of the whitest people that is where you're coming for your racial issues and the racial topics of the day. But I think that there are some interesting angles to this.
Yeah, there definitely are interesting angles.
I think first of all, you pointed out, and did you see the story about the whites rioting at Huntington Beach, and then see that other story where the guys were like mocking it and making it into a reverse video?
I posted that on
I know you posted
show
both of them, but I
schedule.
didn't know if you actually like saw those in succession, or if you
I
had
did.
actually seen that and
Well,
then went back
I
to get the
saw
actual story.
I saw someone had created a blog post that was like white people rioting, and then it was just different images from around the web of like when Detroit lost one year, when Detroit's a horrible example, but
Well, there's probably been a lot of riots actually there with sports teams.
with
and stuff,
sports
too.
teams, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of like
I mean, that
sports
happened in
examples
Minneapolis
that I
when
saw.
the Gophers won a national title, I believe. I think there was some rioting down in
Yes,
Dickeytown. Even.
There was, and then there was the most recent one of Huntington Beach after the surf competition. People were like throwing shit through store windows, and anyway, and then I saw the video, the satire of essentially making fun of the news coverage so far. Like just showing white people rioting rather than black people, and talking about white people really need to figure out how they're going to solve this cultural issue.
Yes.
Which is like totally how probably more conservative white news correspondents on an opinion show would talk about.
I don't even know if you need to say conservative. I
Well,
mean, news
there's
in general.
definitely been some outrage over CNN's coverage and Wolf Blitzer's coverage and how he's not exactly, being unbiased.
Tilt that mic up for me a little bit, please. Just
does it look better that way?
No, you see how much louder that got.
It looks better.
It looks a lot better too. That's really creepy, actually.
That's the one reason.
Yes. No. Okay. Well, for those that don't know what we're talking about, first of all, you go to our Facebook page, the Pubcast,
Yep.
MN Pubcast, our Facebook page. I posted this video there of this satirical news story. It's like 7 minutes long too, so it's really well done.
It's well done.
And it's
a little. After a while, I'm like, okay, I get it.
You totally get it.
This is funny, kind of. It's funny.
But the whole gist of it being that this is how white people cover black people doing something, and if you just reverse it, how absurd it sounds.
It's insane.
Because you're a white person going, oh, that's crazy. And then and the great part is, too, he even brings in a black correspondent, which even kind of adds to the funniness of it, because it's like us, it's usually two white people trying to discuss,
Right.
what's wrong with the black community. So go check that out on the Minnesota Pubcast page. So I thought that angle was interesting. I saw Ray Rice, going nuts, saying that this is not how we can do it in Baltimore, and we got to take care of our city, and we cannot be rioting, and blah, 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 blah. Really interesting for a person who, A, was brought to court for murder, B, was always kind of seen as a thug, and then C is also a multi-millionaire. Hard for me to really give him any credibility or give a shit what he thinks about this, and I'm curious to see what you think of this. What do you think of the fact that they're destroying innocent people's businesses, innocent people's homes, and innocent people's stuff? I think it's really easy to be Ray Rice and to be probably 99% of all white people across America right now going, what the hell are you doing? Go home, get off the streets. What is wrong with you? But I also think, and you and I have been talking about this ever since we started this show, that I don't think we can understand the rage that would make one want to do this to their own community.
Right.
Like, we can't even get there.
And I think first of all, it's important to note that the media is covering a lot of violence. And not everyone, and I would say the majority of the people who are protesting are not rioting. They're not looting. They're not stealing. They're not, starting businesses on fire, smashing windows. They are peacefully protesting how they should be. Or, peaceful without protesting, without doing violent
looting
things.
And pillaging.
Exactly. Yeah. So...
Even if there's civil
note.
Disobedience and stuff, maybe there's some of that going on, but that's part of protesting, right?
I want there to be a lot of unrest right now. Like, I think the only way that this issue is going to come to light, because I think it's a serious problem, is by them making a lot of noise. Like, I don't want the protests to stop. I think it's good that they're protesting. What bothers me is when I see like one person running across the street with like their hands full of like goods from some business, but I have to remember that that's not the majority of people.
Right.
And then before you know it, you get people on Facebook saying, "Look at those animals and those thugs." Like to me, those words have become synonymous with using the N-word sometimes.
Well, that's why Opie lost his job.
Oh.
Do you know that? Opie and Anthony, the Boston radio host? He was accosted by a black female on the street. I don't remember exactly why. And he was basically went on Twitter, these fucking animals, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about a certain type of people, but the person he was talking about was a black woman, so it had that racial connotation, which, yes, animal is used as a easier racist term. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Animal and thugs is a term I see people using, white people using, who don't agree with the rioting, who don't agree with the protests, who think there's nothing that they should be up in arms about, and they use these terms, which is like you're just safely saying the N-word,
right?
And it drives me fucking crazy. Do I want to see some, punk ass 15-year-old. Punk ass. Can I use the word punk ass?
I think
kinda
so,
like
because you
that.
would call white people that all the time.
I would just call little mischievous teenagers punk ass.
Right.
Like, you're a punk ass. Like, I don't want to see some mischievous teenager taking advantage of the situation and running into a store. I don't want to see that. Unfortunately, that's what's been covered, but I don't think that is the majority of what's happening.
All right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of a big circle.
I think if it bleeds, it leads. I mean, we're not going to get news coverage of peaceful protests. We're not going to get news coverage of them. Well, I mean, we are, actually. Now we're getting this counter news a bit, actually, to where now we're getting, you've seen the pictures of them cleaning up the streets and all these people that are being good Samaritans and helping others and protecting other people's businesses and all that kind of stuff. There's so much other than the nonsense going on, but of course that won't be covered. But one of the things that I have seen that's talked about here, and you'll see a lot of, again, white suburban types that'll say, like, well, if you didn't commit a crime, you wouldn't have to worry about the cops beating your ass.
Totally.
Okay.
I saw a kid post Eddie's, like, narcotics record, his arrest record.
Thank you. That's
like,
exactly
what
where
the
I'm
fuck
going.
does his narcotics arrest have to do with police brutality?
Well, I get where they're coming from. Where they're saying is, if this guy's got a criminal record, of course he's going to have run-ins with the cops, and of course it could lead to so-and-so. Of course, that shouldn't be a thing, first of all. That just because you've committed a crime does not mean you should get your ass kicked or killed by the cops, okay?
Yep.
But I get what they're saying. But let's take this let's go back a little further than one step, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. The war on drugs, another thing we talk about on this show without just talking about legalization, but the war on drugs says, all right, here minority population that has been treated like shit for many centuries in this country, that hasn't really been given a full opportunity. Here's a shitty education, and here's a shitty neighborhood, and here's a trade that takes no knowledge, no education, and you can make a shit ton of money off of it.
Right.
And it's right next door to the school.
Yeah.
But if you do it, you're going to jail. What the fuck kind of mixed message are you saying? You're saying there's one way out, but you can't use it.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is take away the illegalization part. And now they don't have that option.
Sure.
Now, there will be something else probably. I'm not saying this will get rid of crime. But you have this really easy way out right now if you don't want to work. Because think of how much harder. You and I have had it pretty good, I think. But if you're...
I think I've had it pretty good. I think
really well.
I've had it really fucking well.
So if you compare what we've had to someone who, I mean, you got to put your nose to the grindstone. You have to at least been somewhat raised well, we talk about 2 parents, 1 parent, but if you have any of those things thrown off, a single parent, inner city school, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be that much harder to get through. Absolutely. And then again, like I said, you also have the easiest access to the illegal activity that makes a ton of money.
Yeah.
How dare we hold that against them? You know what I'm saying? So this fucking, if we would, and nobody else is, I mean, there might be a couple other crazies like me that'll bring this up, but no one is going to say that the war on drugs is the biggest part of this problem.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, I completely agree with you. And as much as I have my internal strife about all drugs being legalized, I see where you're coming from for sure, especially because black men are incarcerated for things like marijuana and drugs more than any other race and any other individual. Black men are. And so that is a huge racial issues are tied in directly with the war on drugs. And if they don't have even if they're already from a shitty opportunity and they're not given this right, just like you said, I was about to repeat what you just said, but I completely agree with you.
Okay, let's one more angle that I wanted to, another stupid fact that's trying to be used as evidence out there. I saw just a screenshot today. I don't even remember what news network, but it said number of men killed by police, or number of people killed by police by race, I would imagine last year. And it was something like 240 black people, 440 whites, 100 Asian or I don't remember what it was. But the point being, 200 and something blacks, 400 and something whites. And it said, why aren't white people up in arms and rioting? Do you have any idea how fucking math works, people? There's way more white people in the country.
Yeah, let's compare the
ratio
let's go
percentage here a little bit. Yes.
Let's go percentage. And let's go in the context of how they were killed. These are people that are being killed for pretty much no reason.
Or their race is very often part of the reason.
Yes. Well, exactly.
If not the reason.
Whether it's, I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name, but the guy who had clearly his hands up in the air, and the cop was just charged with murder, thankfully. And he was running the opposite direction.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, I can't remember his name either, unfortunately.
Yep. And then, or in this most recent case in Baltimore. So it's... you don't see that happening very much to white people.
No.
That's the reason why we're not outraged, because they're probably getting killed for a reason, like they're pointing a gun at a cop.
Well, and there are instances. I mean, I don't know what color the guy in California last week that got taken off the horse and just beaten to fucking death nearly. I think he was white.
I've definitely heard of these cases before.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't mean to say it doesn't happen.
Right. But percentage-wise and, again, reasoning-wise. And I think this is an interesting theory. Corolla has been saying this for years. He's always had asshole neighbors. And I've had some asshole neighbors as I've grown up, too. And I think if I were black, I would think most people were racist. And I think that's because... most people are assholes. So I'm white. So I just think people are assholes because I don't think people would hate me because of my race. But if I were black, so I already had this preconceived notion that is not just completely bullshit, by the way, it is there. So you know what I'm saying? Where I'm saying that if I'm a black person, I'm going to look at a lot of things as being racist even when they aren't.
Well, I think a lot of people are assholes and a lot of people are ignorant. I don't think it's inherent racism per se, but just like we're talking about, most white people don't understand the shit that black people have to deal with, and they're never going to understand, and that's where this kind of assholey ignorantishness comes out. And that's why I think a lot of people are perceived as racist, because that's kind of a form of racism in a way, is ignorance. But
no, it's absolutely we're ignorant mostly because we don't care. It's not even it's a passiveness.
We don't get it, and we don't care to get it. Like, we don't want to understand. We're like, we think we get it. We don't get it, and we think we get it. Totally.
Right. I guarantee there's a bunch of white people in Baltimore tonight going, we need to fucking think about this. Right. But it took, their business being burned to the ground or something for us to get there. All right, well, we started dark, but we can light it up again. And hey, last week I thought we did a really good job of taking a fucking dark show and making it, I would say, rather light. We just avoided all the dark shit. Yeah. We just didn't talk about anything I planned on talking about.
We had ISIS out there, like, nope, I can't talk about ISIS.
No, fuck that. And it's thankful this is how my mindset is so interesting too, because I went back, I always just reuse the same sheet when we come up with kind of what we're going to talk about, and I looked at what we were going to talk about last week, and I'm just like, fuck no, because I would maybe keep them for the next week too, and no, absolutely not, none of those topics. We'll decide what we're going to talk about when we come back here. It is myself, Molly, and Oliver, or hashtag the Ver over there. We'll be right back.
Reach for this one.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back online,
Let's turn it on. That took a very PG direction.
along comes this hit show.
I'm constantly burping on stage.
Hey, you heard about Madonna, right?
Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck.
Had she fallen to the ground and her eyes rolled into the back of her head, what would you, Tim Mahoney, have done?
I would have tried to make out with her.
Nice.
Get in line.
The Twin Cities Hit Show with Rusty, Courtney, and Chuck airs live daily, 9:30 to 10:30 on the Alive and Social Network.
Ever swallowed a bug or choke like Courtney on stage?
Yeah.
I meant to do this.
Join longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and friend, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, as they talk about all things sex, men, women. Lend them your ears and learn everything you wanted to know about sex and intimacy. Only here on the Alive and Social Network.
At all?
Good song choice.
Do you know it though? What this is?
Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah.
I saw him. I've seen him twice in concert.
Okay.
Fucking insane. I cried my eyes out. Well, I saw him in San Francisco first, and then I was like, I gotta see this guy again. And then I saw him at First Avenue. Damn. Have you ever seen my picture of him that I got?
I don't think so.
I think it's
But I can tell you that did I make a huge mistake last year when I went to Milwaukee for Outkast. He opened for them,
yeah.
and we didn't care.
No, and you should have cared.
We got so drunk beforehand. Arrived there when Gary Clark Jr. had about 2 songs left. I was jamming to them like, oh my God, how did we miss this? I was loving every bit of it. My buddies, I don't even know if they were paying attention. But he is awesome, and
He's
I'm
insane.
pretty sure he's playing. I'm going back to Milwaukee this summer for a Twins game and Summerfest again, and I believe he's playing again there this year, and I'm going to try to see him.
Dude,
And I'm going for his whole set this
sure.
time because fucking A, he's awesome.
I can't find this photo. Dang.
Well, you keep working on that.
Where is it?
I am going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. Okay.
Oh, here it is.
Oh wow!
I'm showing Jason.
Oh wow! Like you were seriously.
I got up right.
You're
I got right
you're
up there.
second row. I mean, you
I
might have
even-
A headed in front of you.
I even did the horrible thing where I
awesome.
invited a friend with me, and we ended up. I feel like I've told this story on air before.
You probably have. I have a terrible memory.
We met the opener, Max Frost.
Okay.
He's a
That
nice guy.
local,
He did
or-
it. No, he's national dude. He sings that White Lies song.
I don't know. If I
You
know
could
that.
probably look it up and
White Lies.
yeah, White Lies. Really nice dude. But anyways, so she went backstage and was partying with them, and I was like, I love Gary Clark Jr. too much that I can't go backstage. And she got too drunk and had to leave early, and I wouldn't take her home. That's how much I love Gary Clark Jr. I was like, you know what? Just call me when you're back. Let me know if you have any problems.
Oh, they always have to have ads.
Oh, you could use my Spotify. You know
Well,
I have
I'm just
Spotify
throwing
Premium.
I know which I
Premium.
need to have too, but I'm bringing it up on YouTube real quick. I just want to see if I
Spotify.
know this.
Oh, it's the music video.
Yeah. Come on now.
Oh no.
I don't think I've ever heard this.
I'm picking up real sketch vibes. My woman's been telling me lies about other men, about where she's been hanging.
It's a good song.
Definitely never heard that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Listen to the whole thing. It's
Where
good.
would I hear that? Like
It was
did you
on
hear
the
that
current for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's on the current.
So anyway, lots of.
Yeah,
well, you know what?
yeah,
Hey, let's go to
yeah.
this. You know, since a little music came up there, we got to talk about St. Paul music venues, and I want to know which one of these you've been to.
Okay.
Because you don't.
Probably
You
not.
probably yeah.
Probably
You don't.
none of them, but let me
Well,
shout them out.
you live in Minneapolis. If I lived in Minneapolis, I cannot think of how often I would be coming to St. Paul for music. I mean, what reason
Unless
would
that
you?
unless there was
unless
a
it's at the
band
X.
and I had a friend that I knew that was playing, yeah, for sure.
Sure, yeah, but you wouldn't just go, hey, let's just go check out a show in St. Paul.
No,
you know what I mean?
probably not.
So apparently, oh shit, this ain't the right one. Apparently, there are some venues that are apparently bringing music back to St. Paul. Like they're supposed to. It says revitalize.
Is it this a
according to
lower
city
town
venues.
part of the lower town
Not all of them.
revitalization?
In fact, okay, so it's top 10. The first one, I wonder if you even know where this is. I know exactly where it is. I've driven by it 100 times. But the Wabasha Street Caves, do you know where that is?
I do know where
right
that is.
off like Wabasha Street,
Yeah,
obviously.
they
and-
have swing dancing there.
Oh, sure, yes.
Certain night, like Wednesday nights, I think they have really fun swing
Thursday
dancing.
night, yep.
Thursday nights.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then they do like they have the Minnesota Jazz Orchestra do stuff
Yep.
there too.
Yep.
So I don't know musically if that's my taste, but the place seems really cool. I
Yep.
just need to go in there. I can't believe I've never been in there. And then, okay, so Lower Town, yes, Black Dog Cafe apparently is that's down by the State Stadium. I have never been there.
It's a weird, like,
bluegrass,
no man's
jazz,
land.
Balkan, acoustic rock, and more. I think I might dig that.
Sure.
You said you've been there though. You don't.
No,
really...
I'm just saying it's kind of in
Oh.
a weird no man's land. Like,
Yeah,
over
well-
the Saint Stadium, there's not much.
And the Saints, I hope, but obviously that's the hope is that kind of gets this
Oh, the
area
new
going.
Saint Stadium?
Yeah, the new Saint Stadium.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
no,
not the
not
old one.
Energy Park. This is now Farmers Market.
Okay, gotcha.
So down
Oh
that
yeah,
area.
I love that area.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Music and Mirrors. Have you ever gone down there for that? I know they
No.
do that like all summer long. I've never been down there for it.
No.
I've gone to the Bulldog while it's been happening and just
Okay.
heard there was music, but I've never been there for it. But that would be a good little spot. That'd be like a good date spot, actually.
Where is that?
Mears Park, that's right there in Lower Town, across from like Barrio, Bulldog, across the street there.
I think do they have music in Rice Park every once in a while, or am I thinking of Mears Park?
Or am I thinking of Rice Park?
Shit.
Well, those parks are like 3 blocks away, and they're right down there in St. Paul. Whichever is which. I don't remember which.
I saw like Trampled by Turtles there a year or two ago, and nobody was there. It was
Obviously,
just a really
they didn't tell
small,
anybody they were doing it.
It was cool. Anyway.
That is cool.
Cool.
This I don't know about that one. I don't even tell you about that one. Let's go to the next page. Just a couple more that are worth mentioning. Pop-up ads. Thanks, City Pages.
God, City Pages.
I'm
going to talk to Jerry about that one.
Public Kitchen and Bar.
That's new on West 7th, isn't it?
I can't.
Right by Schlitz Brewery.
Okay. All right. I was thinking of Public. What was the one that I complained about? Remember?
Public House. Public.
Just Public.
Maybe this is the same one.
But I'm looking at a picture of the venue. It does not look anything like it.
All right.
You ever been to Amsterdam?
Yep.
Yeah, that one, I hate that place. But it's a good place for music.
Good French
And
fries.
then the James J. Hill Library. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that was a music venue. That sounds pretty fun. Cool. And then have you been to the Turf Club since it's been revitalized?
Yes.
Okay. What do you
Great
think
venue.
of it?
I love Turf Club.
Is it better or what? How much is it? How much is it different?
It just feels nicer. It doesn't feel so
kind of cleaner. Maybe?
Yeah, totally. Okay. And it's just a comfortable venue to be in now. It always was, but it just was grungier before.
But isn't that character? Like I consider
it still has a lot of character.
First Avenue very dungeon.
It still has a lot of really fun character. It just doesn't feel like grimy.
Okay.
And then better sound, better lights, but still that same funky character. So I love the Turf Club. That'd be where I go mostly for music in St. Paul.
Well, there you go, folks. I want to check out at least a couple of those. I do need to go check out a good show at the Turf Club too.
Yeah, and go to well, actually, you know what? On First Ave, they have all the Turf Club shows on there. I think.
Yeah, because they're affiliated now. Yeah.
Yep.
First Ave basically bought them.
Like a shout out to my friend's band BNLX. Normally plays at Turf Club quite often.
Okay.
So, as does my guitar teacher's band, the Melismatics. What's up, Mark?
The Metal is
the Melismatics.
What kind of music?
Like kind of like BNLX. Like I don't know, kind of rock, punk, rock. Rock.
Give me a more popular band of that genre.
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I don't know.
I'm having trouble just picturing that in my head.
I mean, we can like look up their music for you.
It's not that important at the moment. I mean, you can get it if you want, but I think we should. Before we take another break, I want to delve into this Mad Men episode. Did you get
I just closed it.
Oh,
shit!
Of a bitch.
Oh wait, here it is.
Okay, bring it back up.
Oh, here we go. Oh fuck. Is this it?
There was a lot of tweeting going on.
So it was a really good episode.
A lot of tweeting.
It was probably one of the best episodes I've seen in a long time. So the thing with Mad Men is usually there's different people direct it every episode. Like sometimes Matthew Weiner directs it. He's the writer of the show. Sometimes John Hamm directs it. The guy who played Lane Price, former character on the show, he directed it this time, the actor.
Do you feel like you can tell?
Yeah,
without knowing
everyone has a different style. I mean, the whole show is cohesive, but every once in a while, Mad Men goes into this very fascinating, dreamlike episode where, like, the timeline is a little warped, and it feels, especially in certain years when they were heavy into drugs, when certain characters were into drugs, like they had a doctor in the early 60s bringing, like, I think it was essentially like vitamin B12 shots or speed or something, like legal speed, and they gave the people injections at work, and that episode was like totally fucked up. Had times where people have experimented with LSD. Those episodes have been totally, I mean, and then the best episodes to me are just I love that they mix those in, but the best episodes to me are just focusing on the characters, the conversations, and being at the office. Like, sometimes it gets a little too, like, I don't want to see Don Draper with a million different women. Like, I get it. Like, he sleeps with a lot of ladies. This one was very focused on the ad agency itself. It got into the right amount of personal life that you want to see in every episode, but not too weird, like, not too out there. And it had a really pivotal moment that for the last 8 years this show has been on, or however however many now. I don't even know.
Right, this is the 8th season, isn't it?
Yeah. It got to a really pivotal moment with Peggy Olson, the copy director, and one of her best coworker friends, Stan Rizzo. And she revealed something to Stan that just turn it off if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Please.
We're going to
Yeah,
talk
spoiler
about this.
alert.
And I have never seen the show ever, but I think I can get through it. And this won't change it.
No, it won't change it. Peggy had a child back in like 1961, 62, right when the show was beginning, with Pete, one of the account people. She ends up giving it away, pretends like it never happens, doesn't tell anybody. She's a Catholic girl, totally shamed. You know.
How did that work without showing and all that? How did they cover that?
I don't know if she just covered it up and said she had an illness and then came back to work. Honestly, I can't even remember what it was. But she covered it up. Her family took the baby and
that's how
gave
it
it
used
away.
to be, yeah.
And so she essentially revealed this to Stan. And Peggy has been one of the most fascinating characters for women because she's gone from a secretary to a copywriter to copy editor to copy chief. And she's still single and she's living this very modern life, and she's living she's kind of cutting edge for women. She's living what a lot
of feminism, right?
She's living how a lot of women live now. And so her and Stan had a very fascinating conversation. Little kids came into the office to cast in a role, and by the end of the day, her and this mother of one of the child actors got in an argument, and she essentially told Stan what happened and then said, I don't know why women can't make a mistake and just move on with their lives like men can. So it was this really interesting moment where you're like, yeah, like why can't we? We can't. Like the fact matters is that if you get pregnant as a woman, you either deal with the consequences of abortion, the emotional consequences of abortion, you have a child and you deal with emotional consequences of an adoption, or you raise a child for yourself, and a man can step out of his way and say, nope, sorry, and you don't have that choice. So it was fascinating to me, and it was real. So I don't know how you feel about that. But
I think I read enough of it in that article to get that part of it. I don't know. I think I'm torn on that one because my initial reaction to that is, yeah, you can't. Women and men are different. You get pregnant, men don't. So that's the difference, and that's why you can't. Like, get over that. Like, to me, that seems like, and tell me if this is your perspective, but to me, it sounds like she's saying that's wrong. I would just say it's fact. It's not right or wrong.
I think she's like not.
Or is she saying what society is saying about
it? She is wishing that men had more of an emotional stake in a pregnancy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just as much of an emotional stake in a pregnancy than that women do.
See, and I wonder though, like genetically, nature, nurture, whatever, however all that works. I don't know if you want men to have that same thing. That's what makes us want to reproduce at the rate we do. If we have the same emotional part attachment to the woman getting pregnant, I'm talking from like an animal perspective here. Okay. I'm saying even let's just like apes, before men evolved. I think that there would be a societal advantage possibly to men just wanting to have sex with as many women as possible and producing as many offspring as possible. So that's why we don't have that genetic makeup to have the emotional attachment that the mother does, because you don't want, for societal reason, you don't want the mother to have that same perspective. Do you know what I mean? Because the woman does have to get pregnant and raise the child.
Sure. I mean, but I think the problem with that is you start making excuses for, I don't know, like you just start making excuses for men.
Okay, because I guess what I'm saying is I think that go the opposite way. Instead of saying like, oh, isn't it poor women that they have to go through this? It should be, why do we just allow men to be cocksuckers and walk out? Yes.
By saying, why can't women just make a mistake and not move on like men do, or move on like men do. By her saying that, like, she was essentially saying the reverse of it. Is she's feeling frustrated because she's a mother, and inherently she knows she's a mother, and she's blocked this motherhood out of her mind, and she's just moved on with her work. And Stan makes a joke that he essentially says, well, I don't know if I have kids. I could have lots of kids running around. And she's like, that's the point. Like, you don't have that emotional connection, so you can move on with your work, you can move on with your life, and there's no emotional hang-ups to you possibly having children. Where for me, I'm always going to have this emotional hang-up. It's going to be a huge issue in the back of my head. And so I think she's just saying, I wish men would take more accountability for their actions, and realizing that when they have sex or when they do this, when they do that, and they get someone pregnant, I wish they had that accountability that we have.
I'm going to go ahead and still blame women. And here's why. Adrian Peterson had, okay, let's say once he's at 3 kids with 3 babies' mamas, shouldn't the 4th potential baby mama be so repulsed by him that because that's so wrong?
This is
she doesn't have
is going fucking
you know what I'm
far
saying?
out
You know what I'm
left field,
saying,
man.
all I'm saying is that these guys that are horrible and that do not treat life with enough respect are still getting laid. Women, stop fucking these men. Stop acting like they deserve to be laid. They don't. These guys are bad people that are having kids with multiple mothers. Stop letting that be okay. That's what I think is the problem. There are all kinds of men out there that do have kids with multiple women, and other women still find them attractive. That's the problem. And I don't just mean physically attractive. I mean, they still think they can be good men. You still even got people like Jeff Dubé, who, my co-host, and I like working with him, but he still defends Adrian Peterson, says he's not necessarily a bad guy. Yes, by definition, by the fact that he's had a bunch of kids with a bunch of women, that makes him a bad person.
I don't know if that
Stop
makes
acting
you...
like it's not. That's
Okay.
I think the problem. We need
mean,
to judge.
I guess it depends on how involved you are in your children's lives, but it starts with men taking responsibility for it too. Like, I don't know.
But we'll do what we're told by women.
That's like telling women, like I don't know, don't wear a short skirt because we might rape you. So make sure that you're being proactive about the choices that you're making so that we don't make the actions against you. Like that, it's like we're each blaming each other when in reality, when you meet someone, you fall in love with someone, men are there can be guys out there that are really smooth talkers and manipulate women into having relationships with them and tell them they love them, or tell them they're going to protect them, and tell them that they're different. Like, there's a lot of different facets that go into women being in relationships with guys, you know?
Yes. I hold them accountable for that, though.
I don't know.
And again, I'm jokingly blaming women for this, but
this is like a totally separate issue.
It
that
is.
We're going
it
into
is,
right
but,
now. Like, I'm talking about a woman having to give up her baby for adoption in 1960 and not being able to move on with her life because of it.
But her point was that it's
whatever.
that it wouldn't be that way if men had the same attachment. And I guess all I'm saying is that is true, and I wish women would start making it there be more negative consequences for men behaving.
What type?
incorrectly.
What do you mean? What type of negative consequences?
It should be harder to get the next woman pregnant, is what I'm saying. Once you've gotten 2 or 3 pregnant, it should get harder and harder with each one. And I don't feel like it is. I don't know who these guys are going after, though, either. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Well, I'm not going to say that. I won't even say that. I'm not, because that would have been blaming the women again, and I'm not going to. But I don't know. I'm just saying.
Because men inherently don't have the accountability, we need to be more proactive as women to make sure that they're not getting us pregnant.
You're enabling.
We're
enabling
enablers.
assholes. You're asshole
We're
enablers.
Yeah. Okay, Jason. Okay.
I think on that note. That's
so
really,
guys out there, don't take the accountability. Don't take the accountability. Smooth talk your way into everything, and definitely don't wear a fucking condom, because fuck that. But women, make sure you're screening your men. make sure you're asking them if they have other baby mamas, and make sure you're on your birth control. because men should not have to take that accountability.
What's the joke whenever mom goes out of town for a couple of days? And a guy's got, and husband stays home with the kids. It's free for all, right? It's a mess, and they had whatever they want to eat, and it's because you don't let the men choose. We're not smart enough to do any of this. We do need you.
That double standard. You know what? I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm not marrying anyone who calls themselves like, I'm doing mom duty. No, you're doing fucking dad duty. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a partner and as an adult and as a parent. You are doing dad duty. That's the same shit as mom duty, besides breastfeeding in the beginning. But if I'm gone, you're giving them the same milk.
Right. That shouldn't be the cliche, right? That
No,
it just turns
it's not.
into shit
And
show.
I don't like to use that language. I refuse to use that language in my relationships. I don't want to use that language in my future relationships. Like,
do you think there should be certain women-men roles at all?
no. I think it should be up to the couple in deciding how they want their dynamics of their family to be.
I don't think I can
If
disagree
there's
with
a woman out there who wants to be a stay-at-home mother and that is what she feels is her role in life, and the father should be the breadwinner, that's fine. That is their decision. That is how their family dynamics work. But do I think there should be an overall what works for everybody? Absolutely not. For
Right.
me, I look for a partner who's going to be completely equal with me, as much as humanly possible.
Have you listened to Bill Burr's podcast at all?
No, I haven't.
He comes home from a weekend on the road or whatever one time, and the fridge is empty, and he fucking loses it, and he's like, there are just certain jobs, and that one is the woman's role. Like the garbage going out to the fucking curb, that's always the guy's role, but the fucking fridge is hers. Like he's just freaking out about it, and I think I agree with you. It's unless is it like as a team if you decide that
Right.
cool,
Right.
But no, it's not just because she's got tits. She does the dishes. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
and
if that is how he really feels, then that should be out there and obvious when he's in a relationship. And if the woman doesn't agree to it, well, then they probably shouldn't be together. 'Cause
Right.
He sounds like he feels really strongly about that.
and I think there are a lot of guys, that they mow the lawn and the woman cleans the house or something like that. But yeah, I don't think. I think we're hopefully past the. Just that mindset of that is the
Mom
dynamic.
duty.
That has to be it. Yeah, exactly. Mom job. All right, let's take our last break. We'll come back and talk about something else just a second.
Legendary Minneapolis-St. Paul sports radio personality Jeff Dubé's energetic sports talk jumps right into the nitty-gritty local sports details you're looking for. No one else is delivering you sports news, current events, and guests with Dubé's gusto. Join him live at any of his bar perches or live streaming Monday through Wednesday only on the Alive and Social Network. Just go to JeffDubéShow.com. The term foodie can sometimes come across as a tickle pretentious. BT and Lydia are here to demystify the term and reclaim it for the sake of good food. Their weekly podcast brings in fellow foodies and culture creators from the Twin Cities to talk about all things food. Find this duo only on the Alive and Social Network.
Minnesota Pubcast.
Are we live?
We are live. No, we're not. We're not streaming right now. No.
Oh, we're not.
We are recording today. The Twins Tuesday boys are out at Floyd's in Victoria, and they look like they started a little late, so that is why we are recorded today. You were not listening live.
My friend Peter goes, "What's the link?" I love you, Peter, but come on,
To the link to what? The
our show site.
oh Jesus.
How often do I post about it on Twitter and Facebook? Maybe he's not really on that stuff that much though, but it's still kind of funny to me.
npubcast.com. I don't know if anyone could. Well, yeah, you could be listening right now and not know that if you just got it on iTunes or something. But that is the easiest way to get it. All right, because you hate conspiracy theories, I wanted to talk conspiracy theories today, but in a way that I know
Is it a
won't
good
drive
one?
you nuts. No, it's a lack thereof. It's a lack of any conspiracy theory, possibly.
What? This is confusing.
Well, let me explain.
It's a conspiracy theory that's not a conspiracy theory, but it's a conspiracy theory about the conspiracy
Which
theory, and
makes
you're going to hate it.
the whole thing a conspiracy theory. But okay, so I see this article today or today, I don't know. Is it Audi? Let's pull it up quick.
AUDI, the car.
Yes, Audi has created.
Peter goes, LOL, they are all explicit.
Goddamn right. Audi has just created diesel fuel from air and water. I won't read the very sophisticated process that they do this, but they take CO2 and water and also carbon monoxide somehow, and they make the shit into diesel. Now, I guess I don't understand what diesel is because
Diesel
think
gasoline?
diesel, yes, when I think diesel, I'm thinking crude oil. I'm thinking
Right, crude
black
oil.
stuff.
Black stuff.
You know what I mean? Like
Black
I'm thinking dirty from the ground shit, right? That supposedly is like the worst thing for the earth. This would throw that on its, turn on its head.
Okay, wait.
if we
they
could do this.
take,
Okay, maybe we should read a little bit.
This
Okay.
is- yeah,
The
explain
base
the
fuel
science.
is referred to as blue crude and begins by taking by taking electricity from renewable sources like wind, solar, or hydropower and using it to produce hydrogen from water via reversible electrolysis. All right,
That's
so,
too
you
many.
understand what I'm saying here?
That's too many types of all the things in one. That was too much.
They're taking hydrogen from water.
They're
somehow.
removing the hydrogen from the water.
Yeah. And then they're mixing it with CO2 that has been converted into carbon monoxide.
This is
How does that make any sense?
This is science gibberish.
Yeah, it really is.
We need
Anyway,
Neil deGrasse Tyson on here right now.
the end
need
product
Bill Nye.
is synthetic e-diesel.
So we essentially don't have to pull diesel from the ground.
Right, and it says
Where is it? Where did you read this from? Where's this BS?
Gizmag.com. That
Chizmag,
great
you
source.
mean?
Not with a J. Yes, that one and only source that I go to for all of my technology info. Gizmag.
Yourbignews.com
But okay,
/conspiracy.
I don't even. This could be bullshit, but it's what it made me think today that I found interesting, and that is, we've seen you had the Vice show and you had the 60 Minutes episode recently about using polio and other diseases to fight cancer.
Yeah. Which has been proven to work in these first few cases, which is
Seems
really exciting.
awesome. We wouldn't have heard about it, I don't think,
Right.
if these trials weren't going well.
Using the AIDS virus to stop
attack
leukemia.
these things that are
Yep.
unattackable by our immune system.
Yep.
Really, really crazy and cool idea.
Yep.
The people like me who think that that the president is told what to do by guys in black robes and smoke cigar filled rooms, I think that
The black robes, dang.
that somehow makes it more mysterious.
It's
Maybe they have a mask on,
I
too.
picture conspiracy theorists like thinking that the house of black and white or of white and black on Game of Thrones is like a real place.
Right.
Like that's where all the shit goes down. That's where
Like there is a place of faceless
the
people.
Illuminati. That's where
Exactly.
they are. That
Yes.
totally.
And those types of people, who I do sometimes include myself, also are the types that would go, oh, there's a fucking cure for cancer. They just won't release it because there's too much money to be made.
Sure.
And if you
Which
think
people
of-
truly believe.
well, and if you really think that capitalism is half as evil as the people who hate capitalism do, you would think that could be true. That people really would go, yeah, we could cure this shit, or we could make billions of dollars off selling the drugs and all
I
that.
did read a fascinating. Well, I think no matter what, they'd probably have to make a lot of money off of. They'd still make a lot of money off of treating cancer, even if there was a cure. But
That was usually my comeback.
But I read a fascinating book about cancer that kind of disproves a lot of this and just clears up the history and the science behind cancer. Emperor of All Maladies. If you're really into science, if you're really into medicine, it's a really long book, but it's fascinating, and it gives a whole range of this. He's a doctor, like at Harvard or whatever, and then he also is just a really good writer. So anyway,
Okay.
but keep going.
Well, no. So just my point being that if they, well, okay. So the next step being that there's a lot of people out there too that'll. You see one of these stories. I say twice a year on some social media, Facebook or Twitter or something, where it'll say, another car from 1912 that could get 400 miles to a gallon. Because of this crazy engine that they invented.
Sure, okay.
But then GM or Ford or somebody said, "Fuck that! We're not going to make enough money off of that." Or some oil company guy, blah blah blah. Right? Again. I get how that would work,
people
right?
Suppressing good ideas
because you can make more money off a bad idea, right?
Sure.
I think that might have been really fucking stupid. Just going out on a limb, but these conspiracy theories might be really dumb because if they were true, there would have been people saying, "Hey, get that polio virus shit out of here. We're not doing that."
You can't like every conspiracy theory, Jason.
No, I don't like every one of them. But it would not have shocked me if someday we did find out, oh, yeah, they had a cancer cure in 1983, but it didn't come out. That would not shock me. I would be pissed, but it wouldn't shock me.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be pissed either if I found out that there's been. I mean, I've even seen where the U.S. won't allow like Volkswagens that do get like 80 miles to the gallon to even be made in the U.S. or sold in the U.S. Like we just don't allow it for some reason. Okay. Right? Is that a conspiracy theory? Probably. I don't know. But again, so the point to me being that these things really haven't been created yet, and they will be. And all of you fucking people out there with your tinfoil hats on, I think we're seeing the proof here that. The government can still be a conspiracy, all right? Let's not ruin them all. Let's not ruin them all. But a lot of them are bullshit.
Obama's still talking to people, and
Well, did you see Angry Obama, by the way, or
no.
the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Oh, I thought that was the least funny part of the whole speech.
I thought so too. I didn't even see anything.
The whole
but
speech
it,
was
but
really funny.
Okay.
The rest of his speech was fantastic. It was
the
clever
angry the guy from Key and Peele. I think it was Peele.
Yeah.
No. I don't remember
Whatever.
which one, but that guy was in it, just yelling, pretending to be the president, like being the angry president for him, and then Obama just basically starts yelling at him and becomes angry. Obama himself.
Which is like kind of
that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah,
but I do find this interesting too, and I heard Carolla talking about it too, so I'm kind of echoing, but of course Obama's good at this, and of course almost any president would be. They're professionals at speaking into a microphone and at not only reading a teleprompter, but doing it with the right emotion. So that's what comedy is. If you can hit a punchline, you don't have to be a writer of it even.
No.
You just got to be able to read it right.
No, he's got good
awesome
writers,
at it.
and he has a sense of humor, I think.
I agree
don't
with
remember
that too.
what George Bush's correspondence dinners were like.
I don't either.
I wish I could look that up.
Well, the coverage
of
those
kind
would
of
have been
guy,
so different. Yeah, and I bet actually a lot of the press really probably did like him personally.
Yeah.
But you hated his politics so much that you couldn't show that.
Sure.
Whereas with Obama, it's almost politically incorrect to not like him no matter what. So showing him in a positive light is good.
Don't like him.
No, a lot of people don't. But I'm just saying, if you're white and you attack him at all, you're racist.
Sure.
A lot of people pull that kind of shit.
But I highly suggest watch the whole 20 minutes of that. It's funny. The whole thing's funny.
Did you see anything else or just his speech?
Just as I was going to look up the girl from SNL who was kind of the host of the dinner.
Oh, I don't even know who it was.
She's funny. Whatever. But anyway, he's always the highlight.
Right, and the president, of course, does have the best writing for him, so he is going to be the best. All right, real quick, the Supremes are going to take up gay marriage. About time. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, we'll see what they do.
What do you think? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what will happen.
I don't know. You got two justices on there who are a little more conservative, who they really
Alito and Roberts, or who do you mean?
Yeah, I think it was Roberts and somebody else. I can't remember.
Well, Alito is going to be the most conservative, isn't he?
I don't know. So it's kind of it's down to a few people that I'm not sure about. But Obama has brought in how many more on the liberal side? 3.
I think he's appointed 2 or 3.
2 or 3. So.
Which doesn't necessarily mean anything. We've found over the years too. When Republicans appoint so considered Republican or conservative justices, sometimes they get some big surprises. As I believe Reagan, was that with Ginsburg? Did he appoint Ginsburg, I think?
I don't know.
Anyway, I used to know a lot about that shit. I used to work with Bob Davis and these guys that were just, and Dave Thompson that were, oh my God, such political wonks.
The Supreme Court is all at once fascinating and incredibly boring.
Absolutely.
Because they just go by the Constitution.
Well, my prediction, though, is I don't even know how much the Constitution is going to play into this one. This is going to be a popular deal.
It's going to play a lot It's going to play a lot because it comes down to what does the Constitution do? In essence, it should protect the minority, which is why we don't have a lot of, I don't think there should be popular votes on whether gay marriage should be legal, because that's what the Constitution is for. It's to protect the minorities over the majority rule. And that's what the Supreme Court should be upholding. So that's my view on it, though.
Here's the scary part of that to me, though, is I think that on that level, you can make that what I think is a poor argument, but an argument that no one is being discriminated against because no one can do the activity. You know what I mean? Like, I, as a straight male, can't marry a man any more than a gay male can. That they can make that bullshit equal.
I don't know. I mean, that.
You know what I'm saying? You've never heard that bullshit argument from a conservative before?
Because they don't have anything. That's the only thing they could possibly bring up from a constitutional legal perspective that doesn't involve God or Jesus.
Right. But that's the law part of it, where that argument could be made. And what I'm hoping is that the Supreme Court just goes, the tide is turned. Like, are we really going to be the court that's known as
I want a constitutional reason for it. I don't give two fucks that the tide has turned. I want a constitutional reason for it because that down the line is easier to uphold and easier to say no.
See,
if conservatives are so intent about everything being by the Constitution, clutching the Constitution, that's my constitutional right. I want a constitutional reason, and a really good one, for gay marriage.
I think I understand your point, but
I morally agree with it, and I think from a moral and now is the time, absolutely, like just from 50, almost 60% of Americans agreeing with it, but that doesn't matter to me. I want it because there's a constitutional reason behind it. It's protecting people's rights.
I just wonder, and I'm not educated enough on it, but like Brown versus Board of Education, I just wonder if they were even like, I could make a legal argument against this, but because we have to do it, we just have to do this.
No. I mean, essentially, it comes down to anti-discrimination laws, and that is an integral part of our Constitution, is protecting minorities' rights and protecting people against discrimination for who they are. And that's exactly what gay marriage is about. So I'm assuming that's going to be a big part of their ruling.
Just because I don't want to even try to get into anything else. We have like 2 minutes left. But this is why, and I wonder if I still have this belief, so I'm just going to say it out loud and you tell me if this is crazy or not too, but we'll see.
Okay.
Well, I think marriage is for the church, regardless of what your church is. But I don't think that marriage should have anything to do with the law. So
but unfortunately, a religion and a church doesn't own marriage.
In my eyes, it does.
Marriage
shouldn't be a legal
Christian.
binding thing.
Marriage isn't Christian. Marriage isn't only Christian. Marriage isn't only Jewish. Marriage isn't only Islamic. Marriage isn't only non-denominational. We all share the word marriage.
But it is spiritual, is it not?
Nope, doesn't have to be. It can be spiritual.
So when atheists get married, are they just signing a legal contract?
Yep.
So then why can't we just have legal contracts that don't have to be called
marriage?
marriage?
It's called because that's what it's called. It's called marriage, like I just said.
See, but I think that's perverted. I think the term has been perverted.
No, we don't own the word marriage. Nobody owns the word marriage. Religion does not have a trademark and an ownership over the meaning of marriage. Marriage is two people coming together, forming a union, whether it's under God or not under God. It's just a legal binding agreement. And thankfully, if this law passes and if states are forced to do gay marriage as well as accept other states, uphold other states' gay marriage laws, churches can opt out.
If it's just a legal binding agreement, and I'm saying this to be absurd, but why can't I marry my cat?
Because it's between two people. Marriage is between two people. That's the definition.
The legal agreement is between two people?
Marriage is between two people.
Why can't it be between three people?
I don't know.
So I don't have a problem with polygamy either. But that's why it shouldn't be a law.
I don't care about polygamy. Go for it. Whatever you want to do, but we're not, we're not talking about that.
Hey, if you want more than one wife, good fucking luck. I don't even have one, and I can't imagine going with more than one.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Goodbye.